Hello and welcome to the Authentic Life podcast. I'm Garrett DiBiase, and today I'm excited to share a story, a metaphor about the way we look at and see ourselves, the way we can have a negative or low self-image and not really noticing or realizing it. But when we engage ourselves with the full knowledge and truth of what we are and what we're capable of, it's a revelation, and it really changes everything you do. It changes the approach that you have regarding most things, if not all things, in terms of what am I and what am I capable of. And then alongside that, what is my soul's longing that would bring me the ultimate joy to pursue? And how can I pursue that longing without being overly attached to how that longing is transmitted into service to others? And so being humbled and diligent to simply express. And that process of expressing begins with giving ourselves the gift of grace, receiving grace, taking a leap of faith, and then surrendering to however that creative expression transmits to others and how they receive it and how it impacts them. And so this morning I was playing piano, having some practice time in, playing some songs. And at the moment, I have a pretty cheap plastic keyboard. It's what I have in the studio right now. And so it's a cute little thing. It's something I had way back like 11 years ago. But it's quite obviously a cheap, low-end keyboard, which is fine. But I have a nice effects pedal, and I do my piano playing and expression. And I stepped away from playing this morning, and I thought, for a little cheap rinky-dink keyboard, I sure make that thing sound good. I sure make it sound good. And I was just laughing to myself, that a little creativity, a little effort, you can get a lot of bang for the buck with most things. But that's just what I was observing and noticing and chuckling with myself about that. Holy cow, for being a $20 keyboard, sounded good to me at least. And then instantly I had a download about that, a kind of flash idea, a very dense concept just filled my mind, my heart, about that being a perfect metaphor for us. For us humans on planet Earth, it can be easy for us to discount ourselves, to not see our full value or potential, and to categorize ourselves through conditioning or limiting beliefs into small expectations. Just real minimal expectations and value allocation to ourselves. It can be easy to be in that place. Low self-esteem, however you want to put it. But the true revelation occurs when you give yourself that grace to say, I'm going to express regardless. All my imperfections, all my inadequacies are not going to stop me from expressing as best as I can, from being as authentic as I can, for exhibiting my uniqueness as best as I can. And when we surrender that ego and open ourselves up, open our hearts from a closed heart position, but to an open heart position of just giving and receiving. That's when we truly channel the divine aspects of ourselves, the divine in general. When we transmit frequencies that are outside our scope of us understanding possibly or sensing possibility. But there's something sacred and divine about offering what it is that you have. There's a biblical story about a woman who didn't have much to give to the church or Jesus's message campaign, but she wanted to contribute, so she gave $2, right? And Jesus then can see that she wasn't ashamed of the amount she had to offer, of the amount that she was willing to express and give. And that had more impact for continuing that mission, that ministry, than the contribution of $100 from a more wealthy guy. This is what throws people off. This is where we get in our linear thinking, our human, limited, linear, self-judging, egoic thinking, which is $2 is far less substantial than $100. But we're judging it on the wrong metric. That when you contribute energetically, when you contribute spiritually or frequentially, when your expression is in that currency, it far exceeds the lower currencies, the lower frequencies. It's exponentially more powerful. So instead of $2 to $100, think, 2 to the 10th dollars versus $100. And so when we think about our authenticity and what we can offer, what our uniqueness is, what are our gifts and strengths and abilities, and we look at every single one, say we got 15 things we like about ourselves that we like to do, or people tell us we're good at, or we're naturally skilled at, or accomplished in. And we say, well, anyone can do any one of these things better than I can. Someone's stronger, someone's better looking, someone's more successful, someone's more creative. And so it looks like there's just failure on every front, or it can look that way. Well, sure, I like to cook, or I like to take pictures. But what good is that? It's only $2. It's only a $20 keyboard. Why is it even worth playing? It's just going to be a disappointment. It's just going to fall short because it's being judged on the wrong currency, on the wrong metric. Are you looking at yourself like a $20 keyboard? And even if it's like, yes, I have imperfections, I have inadequacies, but I can still channel love just as good as the diva or the master artist or whoever is on the top of the music charts or the movie billboards. Those are earth success metrics. Those are third and fourth dimension success metrics. But my argument, what I would offer, is that everyone has the same capacity to channel love. I don't care if you're a high school dropout, you're a NASA scientist, you're a quadriplegic or a bodybuilder. On this metric, we are equal. We are the same. So if that's a truth that's new to you, see if that lands for you. What do I mean by that? Another way to say channel love would be authentic service. Can you be fully present with yourself and with someone else? That's the biggest gift of all. Just holding space for someone and loving witness. I don't care how much money in the bank. If you're not present with me, you're not going to have a big an impact as someone who's sitting next to me, looking me in the eyes, listening, holding my hand, and being there with me and for me. So yes, are you a flawed, imperfect human being? Are you a $20 keyboard? It can feel like that some days, and there's some truth to that, right? We're humans. But we're humans animated by souls with the ability to channel higher dimensional frequencies, like love, as opposed to, anger or shame. We can transmit information, transmit energy by accessing our soul family, guides, angels. The idea is that you are a conduit in the most powerful description of you. And we need to give ourselves, or it's recommended or certainly hoped that we would give ourselves the opportunity to express, regardless of our estimation of its value. It's about what the other person is receiving. That's the impact. We express and then surrender to however that is received by someone else. The grace to even step up to the instrument and play it, express ourselves. The leap of faith that this is the right thing to be doing, that this won't end in total disaster, and the surrendering that the impact may not be fully known to us, and that we're not responsible to how that transmission is received by others. So sit with that question, that idea, that concept. Am I limiting myself because I think that what I have is not good enough? And then evaluate if that's the case, if that's coming from a self-judgment, energetic place, and if you are judging what you're giving in the wrong metric, the wrong currency. Because if you think what you have is not good enough to share, then I can guarantee you, you're estimating what you're sharing with the wrong metric. Another way to say that is you are calculating your impact with the wrong data. I only have $2. What good could that possibly do? But what if that woman's faith in that ministry, in that project, in that mission was so intense that it was worth it to her to give up a whole month's rent or a year's worth of rent? She sacrificed more than the wealthy guy. Her sacrifice was a reflection of her soul's longing, her authenticity. And so we want to think about our authentic service not in the 1 + One is too material, cause and effect. We want to think about our contribution and our authenticity in exponential energies and frequencies that we can't even fully appreciate. And you know this to be true in your own life. One person said one thing to you, and it changed the course of your life. One song, one meeting, one vacation, something disproportionate to the effect it had on you. We see it all the time, and then we see it in the reverse in our own lives. Speeding one red light causes a 10-car pileup. Misdosing a drug causes fatality. And so have that same exponential, energetic, quantifying mechanism, the same for your gifts. Hold as much appreciation for the incalculable, exponential impact of your gifts as you might for any other aspect of life. The ripple effects, all of that. And so the cheap keyboard that sounds beautifully is a great metaphor. Because we are that cheap keyboard, but we are also the master musician who steps up and creates a beautiful, harmonious symphony. It's not that you are a broken or cheap manifestation or creature that is oh so fortunate and blessed to be acted on or intervened by the divine. That happens through channeling, but in reality as well, we take ownership of our lives. We see and act the larger version of ourselves. We engage our authenticity in a masterful way. We choose to look at our life as a beautiful gift and give it the care and the attention and the professionalism that a master musician would. So it's a multiplicity. It might help you to start with the cheap keyboard metaphor. To say, am I discounting myself? I should actually realize my full potential and impact here, appreciate the power of my authenticity, but then also viewing yourself from that master musician standpoint. To say, it's not about the imperfections of the vessel. It's about what that vessel is holding and transmitting. And that master musician approaches that instrument with grace and compassion. And through the non-judgment and the acceptance, that master musician makes that instrument sing and express in ways that no one thought possible. And that is you and your authenticity, you and your dream. That you choose to engage your life, as broken as it might seem or feel, with the grace and compassion of the master craftsman, the master musician, the master artisan, and say, I see the sculpture in that lump of clay. Do you see the beautiful expression that you are? Or do you just see the unformed, unrefined lump of clay? The cheap keyboard? Or do you have the humbleness, compassion, and grace to engage with that benign object and use it to channel the true divine? To express your soul's longing in a beautiful way through it. And this master musician idea reminds me of a story where there's a music shop, in like late 1700s Europe. An old music shop, violins, fiddles, stringed instruments. And there's one violin in the corner that no one has picked up or looked at for years. It's all dusty. It's lost its luster. And one day, the master musician walks in. He sees it. He picks it up. And he starts playing it. And everybody's in the shop. They're looking and they're confused. They can't believe that he's picking up and playing that instrument of all to choose from. That he chose that one to use and play, and it sounds amazing. And turns out that violin is a priceless Stradivarius. It's a beautiful work of art. But it took a master craftsman, a master musician, who wasn't going to judge it, to give it a chance. Give it a chance to truly reflect what was inside. And that's why the graveyard is the richest place in any city. In any village or town, the most wealth, 99% of the wealth in the city is in the graveyard. And that's because most people take their best ideas, talents, and abilities to the grave with them. They don't give those dreams a chance. They leave them in the cupboard, dusty on the shelf, because they didn't think that it was worth sacrificing for. It was worth developing. There was enough contribution there. It was only $2, just a $20 keyboard. Yes, that dream may have been underdeveloped, immature. Your idea, your ability may have yet been unrefined. But that doesn't mean you just get rid of it for next time. That's the starting point of a lifetime of bringing those riches to the surface, expressing that. And ask yourself, just take a moment, take a deep breath, and just be brutally honest. And ask yourself, if I got hit by a bus today, how much wealth would be in my funeral plot? How much wealth would I be taking with me? How many giftings? Another way to look at this is how many people would not be healed, would not be encouraged if I got hit by a bus today. What is the thing that will bring you into full authenticity? That you know deep down that your best stuff is out there. It's growing. It may not be in its finished form, but it's taking root in other people's hearts, in other institutions, other programs. You're sharing it somehow. And then at least you could say, if you got hit by that bus, that you left it on the field. And so my hope is that this is a time where you can reflect and be encouraged and get honest about what you're holding back because you don't think it's good enough. And the incredible disservice you're doing to thousands and millions of people for prejudging the impact of your authenticity. It's like a chef who's not going to cook me that beautiful steak because he's too self-conscious about it. It's like, let me be the judge of the steak. He might think it's a terrible steak. I might love it. So, should he have cooked the steak? Yes, because it was well received. Don't let your future clients, your future friends, your future lovers, your future colleagues miss out on the best parts of you because you're too self-conscious. You're too full of self-judgment. If you're willing to sacrifice like the poor woman did in the biblical story, if you're willing to sacrifice and accept grace, take a leap of faith, and surrender to how that transmission lands in the world, if you're able to do those things, then you'll be able to witness and observe the beautiful symphony of your life. You'll be able to hear the music of your authenticity and know that you expressed it and got it out of you and that you achieved your service in this life. Not taking those treasures to the grave with you. We need them here on earth. We need the best parts of you here on earth. So very much appreciate you listening and viewing, and certainly look forward to rolling out more of these sorts of ideas and concepts. And very much do anticipate having some guests come on down the road to have some back and forth on these ideas as well. And as always, to learn more about me and what I'm up to, visit awakentoyourdream.com, and you can quite easily schedule a meet and greet, chat with me to dig into these ideas a little further. And it's also where I offer my 24-week transformation coaching program that is just a joy to do. And it's my authentic service. So thanks for tuning in. Looking forward to our next chat.